In this presentation, I'm going to be presenting to you the basics of fiberglass. For many people, including myself, we cannot go a day without utilizing some sort of fiberglass product. Fiberglass is used in everything from essentials such as insulation in our houses and buildings to recreational items such as boats and some toys. Possibly the most interesting and most important feature of fiberglass is that it can be combined with many different types of plastic to produce a desired composite material for almost any application. There's nothing really that special or surprising about what fiberglass actually is. Fiberglass, as the name suggests, is simply just glass fibers. Glass itself has been around since the times of the ancient Egyptians, but fiberglass didn't become popular until 1932. In 1932, we had figured out an application for fiberglass, which was insulation. We found out that it worked very effectively. The problem with this was we did not have a way to mass produce it. In 1932, we were nearing the end of the Prohibition. The Prohibition had gone on for about 10 years at this point. And glass bottle producers were in a rapid decline because there was no demand for alcohol bottles. So instead, a bottle company by the name of Owens, Illinois, turned to trying to determine a process to mass produce fiberglass. In a complete accident, an intern engineer for the company found a way to produce the material rapidly using compressed air. This led to the first factory mass producing fiberglass and led to the common fiberglass insulation that has been used for decades since then. In these times, insulation was the main application for fiberglass. Since then, the development of rapid and cheap fiberglass production has led to many companies working with different plastics and combining them with fiberglass to produce solid composites. Today, there's a huge variety of fiberglass composites that allow the material to be specialized for certain uses. The production of fiberglass today has changed a lot since the initial production of fiberglass. As mentioned before, fiberglass was made by using rapidly compressed air, and now today it's much more simple. The process today entails heating the glass until it is malleable and forcing that molten glass through extremely small holes that are so small in fact that they are best measured in microns. Depending on how the fiberglass is going to be used determines the next steps of the production process. Fiberglass can be formed into sheets when mixed with resin, or it can be combined with plastics to produce glass-reinforced plastics, or it can simply be woven into sheets. As mentioned before, fiberglass is purely just glass. Glass is unique in that there are many different chemical compositions that can still produce a material that we would classify as glass. The main component throughout stays the same, which is silica and which is pictured on the screen now. The fact that the chemical composition can be tweaked to produce different types of glass is what makes fiberglass so unique and effective. Different components can be added to produce the desired results. There are many different types of fiberglass, and the tensile strength and other properties of the materials depend on what type it is. For example, S-glass, which is structural glass, is a type of glass known for its mechanical properties. This is what we would most likely find in replace of certain steels and metals and structural components. It has the highest tensile strength and ultimate strength out of all the other types. An example of this type of fiberglass is boat hulls. Another type of fiberglass is E-glass and is best known for its insulation properties. In this type of glass, the producer is willing to sacrifice tensile strength and other mechanical properties for properties that would make the glass a good insulator. In every type of fiberglass, we see the sacrifice of some properties to increase others. This is what makes fiberglass so versatile and has led to the material being so prominent in our lives today. With these advanced production methods, coupled with the fact that glass is very easily recycled, prices of fiberglass are around $2 to $3 per pound. This price sounds very high when you compare it to the price of metals, but you got to remember that the amount of material in a pound of fiberglass is much different than the amount of material in a pound of steel or iron. Naturally, most metals, especially metals that are used in structural applications, are going to have a higher tensile strength than fiberglass. Most of the time, fiberglass is substituted for steels and metals for one of two reasons. A, the product is going to be used in an aquatic environment that would cause other metals to rust, or the product is going to be too heavy if metal is used in it, and fiberglass is a lighter option. When attempting to compare fiberglass alone to metals, it is nearly impossible. Fiberglass, being that it's just fibers, is very hard to test purely in its tensile test. The only way that we can compare it is by taking polymers that have plastic or plastic reinforced or glass reinforced plastic, and testing that. When we do that, we see that the polymers that have glass inside of it have an extreme increase in overall tensile strength as compared to that polymer without it. Glass is resistant to rust, which is why it is used in aquatic environments. Also, fiberglass in general corrodes at a much slower rate than most metals. Oftentimes, it takes the compromising of the integrity of the fiberglass itself to cause failure. When switching from fiberglass to metal, most engineers do consider the loss of tensile strength and are able to prepare the product to be able to handle the amount of stress it will need to, making fiberglass a very effective substitute for metals. Today, where we popularly see the switch from metals to fiberglass is in cars. Almost all cars use at least one component of fiberglass, if not a majority of components being fiberglass, just because of the weight trade-off. Most people encounter at least one fiberglass product in their daily lives. Whether they're aware of it or not, as stated earlier, fiberglass insulation is a very popular choice that most houses utilize. There are also many different types of insulation that are made from recycled waste as well, but the most popular by far would be fiberglass insulation. As I mentioned just a little bit ago, almost every car utilizes fiberglass components and body kits. If you drive a car or ride the bus to work every day, you probably utilize fiberglass. When speaking about recreational use, the classic example is boats. The hulls of most personal boats are made from fiberglass because of its durable yet lightweight nature and it's resistant to rust, which makes boats faster and more efficient.